Jack had been living in the same cozy house on Maple Street for 3 years, and nothing exciting ever happened in their sleepy little town. That changed exactly 1 week ago when he spotted the moving truck next door. Between stolen glances from his kitchen window, he'd watched boxes being unloaded and caught glimpses of his new neighbor, a stunning young girl who looked to be around his age. This particular Saturday morning started like any other. The 25-year-old was in his kitchen flipping pancakes and humming along to the radio, the sweet aroma of his grandmother's homemade strawberry jam filling the air. His kitchen window was wide open, letting in the perfect spring breeze when suddenly he heard someone calling. "Hello. Excuse me. Hello." Jack turned off the burner and peered out his window, nearly dropping his spatula at the sight before him. There was his beautiful neighbor leaning halfway out of her first-floor window, wearing a fitted crop top that showed off her curves. But there was a problem. She was completely stuck. The window, which opened upward on some kind of spring mechanism, had apparently failed and trapped her at the waist. "Oh my God," he muttered, trying not to laugh at the absurd situation. She noticed him at his window and waved frantically. "Don't ask how I got into this situation," she called out, her cheeks flushed with embarrassment. "But I'm dying to know," Jack called back, unable to hide his grin. "This is definitely the most interesting thing that's happened on this street in years." She heard this beautiful bird singing, she explained, gesturing helplessly with her arms. "I wanted to see what kind it was, so I leaned out to get a better look. And well, here I am." "So, you're a bird enthusiast?" Jack asked, thoroughly entertained. "And you're apparently a conversationalist. Are you going to help me or interview me?" She shot back, but her eyes were sparkling with humor despite her predicament. Jack laughed and called out, "Don't go anywhere. I'll be right there." "Very funny," she yelled back. "It's not like I have a choice." Jack rushed outside, his house slippers flopping against the pavement as he assessed the situation. His neighbor's front door was locked, but he could see an open window on the second floor. "Do you have a ladder?" he called up to her. "There's an old one by the fence," she replied, pointing toward the back of her yard. Jack found the rickety wooden ladder leaning against the fence, clearly having seen better days. But it would have to do. He positioned it against the side of the house, right next to where she was trapped, and began climbing toward the second-floor window. "My hero," she called out playfully. "Though I have to say, those fuzzy slippers aren't exactly knight and shining armor material." Jack was about to respond when his left foot, clad in his ridiculous cartoon character slipper, slipped right off the rung. For a moment, he hung there by his hands before gravity took over and he tumbled backwards, landing with a soft thud on the grass below. Now it was her turn to laugh. "Oh my God. Are you okay? I think you need rescuing more than I do." Jack groaned, clutching his back as he lay on the lawn. "Well, this is embarrassing. Some night I turned out to be." "Don't worry," she giggled. "I've seen worse rescue attempts. At least you didn't land in a rose bush." "Give me some credit," Jack said, slowly getting to his feet. "I specifically aimed for the soft patch of grass. It was all part of my master plan." They both burst into laughter, her hanging helplessly from her window, him standing below, rubbing his sore back like some comedy duo that had been performing together for years. "Oh, my brave knight," she said between giggles. "Perhaps you should tie up your noble steed before attempting the rescue again." "Good thinking, my lady," Jack replied with an exaggerated bow. "Can't have my trusty steed running off during such a crucial mission." This sent them both into another fit of laughter. Take two went much better. Jack carefully climbed the ladder again, this time in his sneakers, while his trapped neighbor cheered him on with encouraging comments like, "You've got this, Sir Clumsy, and the princess believes in you." Finally, he made it through the second-floor window and into her bedroom. For a moment, he froze. Even from behind, she looked incredible. Her long legs and those short denim shorts, her hair cascading over her shoulders. The view was distracting. "Hey," she called out. "What's taking so long back there? What are you staring at?" Jack snapped back to reality, his face burning red. I'm just trying to figure out this window mechanism. Got to free the princess properly, you know?" "Aha." she said with obvious sarcasm. I'm sure that's exactly what you're studying back there. Embarrassed, but grinning, Jack examined the window frame and found the release latch. With a gentle push, the window slid up smoothly, freeing his beautiful neighbor at last. She turned around, and for the first time they were face to face. Jack found himself looking into the most gorgeous brown eyes he'd ever seen, her smile lighting up her entire face. There was definitely a spark between them. He could feel it in the air like electricity. But then he smelled something burning. "Oh no!" he exclaimed, looking toward his own kitchen window, where smoke was beginning to pour out. "My pancakes! I have to go. There's a fire in my castle." "Your castle?" she laughed. "Go save your breakfast, Sir Knight." Jack rushed home to find his kitchen filled with smoke and his pancakes completely charred. By the time he'd cleaned everything up and aired out the house, the sun was setting, painting the sky in beautiful shades of orange and pink. A knock at his door interrupted his thoughts. There she stood, wearing a pretty sundress with tiny flowers, her smile even more radiant than before. "I couldn't let my brave rescuer go without a proper thank you," she said. "Plus, I figured you might be hungry since your pancakes didn't exactly work out. Care to join me for dinner in 10 minutes? You can even leave your horse at home this time." Jack's heart skipped a beat. "I'd love to. What did you have in mind?" Her eyes twinkled with mischief. "It's a surprise, but I promise it'll be better than burnt pancakes." When Jack arrived at her door 10 minutes later, the most incredible aromas greeted him. Fresh pancakes, apple pie, and the rich scent of coffee that promised long, cozy conversations ahead. "I wasn't sure what you'd prefer," she said, leading him into her kitchen where she had prepared a feast. "So I made pancakes and apple pie." She picked up a knife to cut the pie, and Jack stepped closer. "Let me help," he offered gently, placing his hand over hers on the knife handle. Her skin was soft and warm, and he caught a hint of her perfume, something light and floral that made his head spin. She didn't pull away. Together, they cut the pie, their hands moving in perfect synchronization. They sat across from each other at her small kitchen table, raising their coffee mugs like champagne glasses. "To new neighbors," she said. "To new neighbors," Jack agreed, clinking his mug against hers. "And the most unusual first meeting ever. I never thought I'd be rescued by a knight who falls off ladders," she laughed. "And I never thought I'd be rescuing a damsel stuck in a window," Jack replied. "Though I have to admit, I'm glad it happened. This is how I got to meet you." "Me too," she said softly, then narrowed her eyes playfully. "But come on, confess. What were you really looking at when you got into my room? You definitely weren't studying that window mechanism right away." Jack's face turned bright red as he tried to hide behind his coffee mug. "I wasn't looking at anything." Sure. Yeah, right. I totally believe you. I was just looking for the window release mechanism." Jack protested weakly. "So, did you like what you saw?" she asked with a mischievous smile. Jack quietly admitted, "Yes," then quickly added, "But I'm not telling you anything else." "I knew it," she laughed. They spent the rest of the evening talking and laughing together as the stars came out. And as Jack walked home later that night, he couldn't help but smile. Tomorrow would bring new possibilities, new conversations, and maybe, just maybe, the beginning of something wonderful. After all, the best love stories always start with the most unexpected moments.